Yo, what is up, Ninja? OG over here from Player Essence, and welcome to another PE Nintendo Switch and gaming news video. Today, we have some awesome information for you guys, like always, so let's go ahead and get right into it. The Brawlout developers are not sure about cross-platform play, but will at least look into it when it comes to their brand new fighting game or Smash Brothers clone that I actually reviewed recently. Make sure you check that out on my channel if you haven't done so. Link in the description below. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into a portion of an Engadget interview with Angry Mob CEO Brodan, and I cannot say his last name. So, quote, crossplay is really tricky for a fighting game because in a fighting game, whenever you do cross-platform, you have to have a server. And if you have a server in our game, instead of 4 frames of input lag, you get at least 8 frames on top of the input lag, and the experience won't be as good. So we have to see. We hope to have a large player base on each platform that solves it all. So basically what he's saying is we're probably not going to have cross-platform play because there's too much factors into it in terms of getting a server, in terms of hooking up all the different systems, and for a fighting game, really the best way to do it, and that's why pretty much all fighting games are peer-to-peer, is when 2 people have direct communication with each other and they both have good internet connections. That is the best way in order to get the best connection for a fighting game. Server based, like he says here, you have to go through another thing, it has to connect, and there's going to instantly be some input lag, or there's going to be some delay no matter what if you do that. But the best way for a fighting game, one-on-one fighting game, or at least even 4 people, is to have great connections and all connect directly, so there's no middleman in between there. The only thing that's set up is the server that's getting you guys' matches hooked up together, and then you directly connect as far as a match goes. So people just need better internet connections. That's what people do need. But as far as cross-platform play, I've never been a huge fan of cross-platform play. Even when they announced it for Rocket League, I thought it was cool for those who like it, but at the same time, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I have to play with Xbox, or I have to play with PC people. I've never been like that, you know? Obviously, having a big player base helps as far as that goes, because when you have cross-platform play, it increases the amount of people who have the game. But I feel that at $20 and a pretty good Smash Brothers clone, I do feel that there's going to be enough people just to play on the Nintendo Switch, or if you're on PS4 and Xbox One, there'll be enough to play on there. So what do you guys think about Brawlout in terms of cross-platform play? Was that something that you wanted in the game? Do you do cross-platform play in other titles? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Alright, and moving into the next article here, we're going to talk about Soulcalibur VI and how it's currently not in development for the Nintendo Switch, but the producer says that he is interested in the system, and I guess it could come later down the line. Now, before Soulcalibur VI was revealed, we did get some rumors that the Nintendo Switch was one of those platforms that it could be on, but unfortunately, it has not been revealed for the Nintendo Switch at this point, and Bandai Namco has said that the game is not coming to the Nintendo Switch right now. However, that doesn't mean that it won't come in the future, or that it can't be in a direct, or the fact that they're just not telling the truth right now in terms of not in development. We've seen it before, but the producer of the game, Motohiro Okubo, told Metro that Soulcalibur VI hasn't been in development for more than 3 years, and that's kind of the reason why, because they didn't really know about the Switch beforehand, but it could come down the line because they are interested in the system. So let's go ahead and get right into his quotes. Soulcalibur VI development started more than 3 years ago, and nobody knew anything about the Nintendo Switch back then. So as a matter of fact, we are not working on Switch as of now. But of course, personally, I'm interested in the platform, so if the Unreal Engine can adapt to Switch and evolve itself, then maybe the possibility will be more. So let's talk about what he had to say here, because I saw a lot of ridiculous comments when I saw the article over. Shoutouts to Nintendo Everything, and people trying to sit there and play armchair comment room developing like, oh, well, that's not a good reason. That's a BS reason, because there's other games like Sonic Forces and Dragon Quest XI that were announced for the Nintendo Switch, and those have been in development for a while. Now, let me just tell you guys something. Dragon Quest XI still isn't out on the Nintendo Switch. Yes, it's been in development, you know, and they announced it before then, before people knew about the Switch. It was still the NX, but where's Dragon Quest XI at? Dragon Quest XI is not here because they needed more time, because they didn't get kits till 2016. They didn't get final dev kits till 2016, and on top of that, there's still been optimizations and other things that they need to do for Unreal Engine just to get it up to where mature as far as the current generation versions of the game, like 4 point something or whatever the case is. So there's all sorts of development hurdles when you're talking about a brand new platform. You're moving from x86 to ARM architecture. You have to plan these things out, or you're going to end up with rhyme. That's what you're going to end up with. You're going to end up with rhyme. If you try to rush things, if you try to hurry it up, you're going to end up with the rhyme. You need to understand the system. You need to make sure that you have the right team in place in order to port it over. You need to make sure that the game is complete. If you started working on it 3 years ago, it's going to be tough to just get it out on Switch in less time than that. So that's the silly things that I've been hearing in the comment section, in addition to stuff like Sonic Forces. Sonic Forces, once again, is nowhere near the scale of game of like a Soulcalibur. Let's just be real here. And once again, they did have to cut the frame rate to 30 frames per second on top of that. So it's just another thing to note there. But I do feel that Soulcalibur 6 will come to the Switch eventually. I think that all of Bandai Namco's games will come to the Switch eventually. And we even heard what Bandai Namco said. They didn't think the Switch was going to be, as far as the adoption rate, they didn't think it was going to sell as fast as it was going to sell, so therefore they didn't plan any of their games out for it. And they said it's a shame. They did say that they hope to rectify the situation, and they have multiple games planned for 2018 with some exclusives in addition to multi-platform games as well. We're starting to see a little bit of it with My Hero, so I think we're going to see more games down the line, and especially in 2018, I think we're going to get ports of Soulcalibur and Dragon Ball FighterZ. Just people need to be a little bit more patient with the brand new system. Now, there is some developers that say silly things like EA, for example, when they could have clearly done something, but they didn't. But I don't think Bandai Namco at this point is really one of those developers, and I honestly feel that they just didn't think that it was going to sell well, so they didn't plan and didn't put any resources into actually developing the Nintendo Switch as soon as possible when it came to their games. And even if they did late 2016, if a game's been in development for 3 years, it'd still be tough to get it out on the same time and get a quality version, especially when you're not done with the main versions of the game first and foremost. So I think that'll come. People just need to be a little bit more patient, and we'll see what happens going forward in the future. But I pretty much said this a while ago. I was like, hey man, it's going to be tough for a lot of these third-party developers because they've had games in development for multiple years. They can't just snap a finger, then all of a sudden x86 to ARM and get a great version working on Switch, because if that version launches, you rush it and that version launches, you're going to be complaining about how bad that version is, like Rhyme, for example. So let's just wait and see on this one. I do feel it'll come, but it's one of those things to where you got to be a little bit more patient if you're a Nintendo Switch owner, especially with the system being new. So let me know what you guys think about this as far as what you have to say on Soulcalibur in the comment section below. Alright, and moving into the last article here, Nintendo has stated that they have a lot more ideas and motivation for the next Legend of Zelda title, or for the Legend of Zelda franchise. Let's go ahead and get into what the producers of the game had to say. We'll start off with Fujibayashi. Quote, "I can't say at this point if it will be in sequels or in continuations or what form it will take, but I definitely have lots of ideas and lots of motivation right now. I think while we were working on both the main game and the DLC, it was a process of constantly getting lots of different new ideas as we refined the game and finding new things we wanted to do. Even in situations like this, talking to people and finding out that people want to pet dogs gives me a lot of motivation, a lot of ideas for things we could put into a game." So The Legend of Zelda Dog Petter, the next game confirmed. No, I'm joking, guys. Now here's what Anuma-san had to say on the matter as well. Quote, "What we learned from DLC this time around is that it's almost like raising the world or enhancing the world. In the past, we always had to start from zero again, to completion. Usually we'd be thinking, oh, I wish we could add this, we could do that. What we couldn't do in this game, we would start fresh in a new game. But because we did DLC, we realized it's a great way to kind of just improve that world and kind of enhance it and kind of raise it like your own child." Oh my gosh, Anuma-san with the kind of. So this is actually pretty cool that they're talking about this here. I think with Mr. Anuma-san and what they've done with Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is amazing. And like I talked about in a previous video, I think it was today, about Legend of Zelda, is that there's so much potential with this game. There's so much potential with this formula that they've made with Breath of the Wild. There's so many different ways that they can go with this, and I think that, yeah, there's a ton of ideas. I've got ideas, and I'm nowhere near as creative when it comes to video game development and design as these guys are, as far as Nintendo. So I know they're going to have a lot of amazing ideas, and when we get that next Legend of Zelda game on the Nintendo Switch, that is going to be something that could even surpass Breath of the Wild, and that's already one of my top 3 favorite games of all time. So what do you guys think about what Nintendo had to say here when it comes to the Legend of Zelda and going forward in the franchise? Let Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Alright Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of Player Essence across the interwebs in addition to YouTube. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon and YouTube Live gaming page and consider supporting Player Essence. When you do so, it gets you access to all sorts of cool benefits, perks, rewards, and emails via YouTube sponsorship. So check out the link in the description below. Consider supporting Player Essence right here on YouTube. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to Player Essence for the latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you Ninja for the next video. Peace.